Glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way from the earth to the cross. My debt to pay, from the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way from the earth to the cross. My debt to pay, from the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. You came from heaven to earth to show the way from the earth to the cross. My debt to pay, from the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. It's my joy to honor you in all I do. stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without border. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you will call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. I will call upon your name. Keep my eyes above the waves. Oceans will rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours. You are He is jealous for me. Love's like a hurricane. I am a tree bending beneath the weight of His wind and mercy. When all of a sudden I am unaware of these afflictions eclipsed by glory, and I realize just how beautiful you are and how great your affections are for me. And oh, how He loves us all. Oh, how He loves us. How He loves us all. And He is jealous for me. Love's like a hurricane. I am a tree bending beneath the weight of His wind and mercy. And all of a sudden I am unaware of these afflictions eclipsed by glory, and I realize just how beautiful you are and how great your affections are for me. Yeah, He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. And we are His portion, and He is
his way up here in a second. You know, that song, He Loves Us. Do you ever stop and just think for a second what that really means and why He loves us? How He loves us? We're screw-ups. We mess up. We make mistakes. Sometimes we don't follow the Bible 100%. But He still loves us. He's still God. He is still the creator of the heavens and the earth. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's the one. Only He is. And He knows that. And He chooses to love us anyways. You know, I had a talk with somebody the other day about it. You know, all week it's been blasted about Kobe Bryant and everything that's going on and the death and the shock. And you know, I tell them this the other day, they're like, why is it all focused on him? Why? What about the rest of the people? In today's culture, it's sad because there's things in life that we choose. Military, EMS, police. Those are jobs where you know it's a 50-50 chance of ever coming back in the afternoon or the morning or whatever. Athletes, that's the last thing you expect to happen because they're athletes. They play ball. They don't do a dangerous sport. They don't do anything like that. So it's a shocker to them. And people split that up. People don't realize that death is death. God has never, it says it in the Bible, He's never once said that you're going to live the rest of your life. It says you're not promised another day. So when I stop and I think about that, about how He loves us, I love each and every one of you. And I can honestly say I would take a bullet for every one of you. But for a stranger, for somebody I've never met in my life, for somebody that I don't know, and I know some of you would agree, could you take that bullet for that person? Probably not, because in the back of your mind you're going, I don't know them. But I know my family. I know my friends. I know how to take bullets for them. But when you stop to think about it, you think about the Bible. He didn't know it. He knows us. But He didn't personally know every one of us. And to sit there and lay on that cross after being whipped and abused and then having stakes driven through your hands and your feet, that is love. That is a love that we will never amount to, that we'll never comprehend. No matter how much we think we are, or we will never lay down our life like Jesus did for us. And I know we take love for granted every day, and I know that life gets to us every now and then. But it's like I told Pastor Mark at the beginning of there, you know, this year I'm trying to better my life, being more into the Bible and more into reading, more connected to the Spirit than what I have been. But I can still honestly say that is a love I will never reach, to be able to do that for so many millions. So as we go on today with the ride and everything, Pastor Mark makes his way up, he's ready for the sermon. Just remember your friends, your family, or whatever. Love them, hug them. Because we're not promised that day. We all know too close. At 1 minute we see people, the next minute we're gone. So as you go throughout your day, your week, even that stranger that you meet, if you see they're having a hard time with it, hug them. Give them a handshake. They can change their entire world for that day, that week, or that month. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you were doing sermon this morning.
Yeah, well.
Caught me by surprise. Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Real quick, special prayers for people I'm not even going to name, but we've had a lot of injuries and illnesses, diseases come into play in not only our lives and our families' lives. Say hello. I hear you, God. Okay, we're going to step it up a little bit, I guess. So we got a lot of that going on, man. I want special prayers for these people, so just add them, you know. I know there's a lot of many, but, you know, we had Mary, something or other, I forget Mary. Lady from the other church, I was asked to put her on our prayer list. We say Mary, God knows who it is. My pops last night was at the stock show. He fell and hurt himself. Y'all please keep him in prayers for quick healing. You know, and there's just multiple others. And that's kind of what today's sermon's about. The attacks that we face, not only weekly or yearly, but every day, sometimes every hour, by Satan. You know, the attacks that we're facing right now is just unbelievable. And that's what we're going to talk about. Your pastor got stuck with a box of these candy bars to help out the Red Oak Youth Baseball. They're $1 a piece back there. Right now I'm about $40 in the hole. So how many we got here? There's 5, 10, 15. Everybody needs to buy 2 candy bars, okay? If y'all want something back there, there's an envelope. Just put them in the envelope, and I appreciate it. They appreciate it. So it's a crazy thing when I was going over and getting this sermon together. I was looking at depression and being discouraged. And I learned something really, I don't know if it was, let's just say eye-opening, and it's nothing, don't hate this letter, but I found it obvious. You know, when I as pastor am putting together a sermon, I pick out whatever topic it is that's weighing on me that week or whatever's being put in my mind, and then I go to the concordance of your Bible. So you can go there and you can say sorrow, and it'll give you different scriptures on sorrowfulness. And so like this week I was talking, I said about just the attacks and the different ways that Satan attacks us. And I started with depression and discouragement. So I went to D, and I'm just going to go through, you know, D, I never thought, and I guess it goes with this too, man. Now D's kind of a dirty letter to me, you know what I mean? You wouldn't believe how many things in the concordance under D that are used in Satan's attacks and the different ways he attacks us. Darkness, we spoke about last week, the darkness that overcomes our lives as we become Christians and so forth. Death. Debt.
Donuts.
I don't think that's Satan, but you know, it doesn't fall under weakness. Deceit, deceitfulness, to deceive, defile, even delight. Demons is what he uses to attack us. Denied, denial, depraved, desecrated, desecration, desire, desolate, joyless, barren, desolate, desolation, despise. He gets us to despise not only each other, but ourselves. To destroy us. Kill, causing devastation, ruin, the complete consecration of things or people to the Lord, either by annihilating them or by giving them as an offering. Destruction, devil, discourage, disguise, which is what Satan does, disguises itself. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Dishonor, dishonoring ourselves, dishonoring our loved ones, dishonoring our nation, most of all, dishonoring our Father, Jesus Christ. Distress, divide, division, divorce. All those were in the concordance under D. So, as you can imagine, when I started this sermon, it was going to be a simple little sermon. I was like overwhelmed with all these things. I had to find a way to fit in there. So that's what I just did. I fit them in, okay? I can't focus on all of them, honestly. But when I got that, I was a little overwhelmed. And so I went to one of the sites I used to get formats for church, for services, templates. And I ran across a template that Pastor Sean Miller put together. And I'm going to use that as my template. We're going to work off of that. We're only going to focus on 3 things. And oddly enough, that template, the 3 things that it focused on, started with D. You know, years ago there was a PBS special on that covered events leading up to the Battle of the Bulge. Y'all don't know what the Battle of the Bulge, that was during World War II or the Second Great War, whatever you want to call it. 1944, I believe, when the Battle of the Bulge went down. The war ended in 1945. But Germany had been beaten back behind its borders. The Nazi war machine was in tatters. The repeated bombs and raids by the Allies all but assured that Hitler's forces would never rise again. Around the perimeter of the borders, the Allies were spread so thin that one observer said that a person could sneak through there without ever being noticed. And all across Europe, celebration, parties, dances, speeches, all rejoicing the defeat of Germany. The war, for all effect, was over. The only problem was, nobody told Hitler. So while the world was celebrating, the Western Allies were celebrating, Hitler had bunkered down. He had his hidden factories pouring out ammunition, bombs, artillery. He was taking the youngest of the young and oldest of the old and immediately making soldiers out of them. But while we thought the war was over, he had hunkered down. He was hidden in disguise. His plan was to separate Great Britain and America, to divide it. He knew that he might not win the war, but he knew that if he could cause a division amongst us, that eventually we would fall. It's what Satan does. We're going to talk about the verses we're working off of today is John 10:10 and 1 Peter 5:8. Paul uses this same analogy here in effect, or an analogy like this, when he assures us that the enemy still lives. He assures us that the war is not completely over. And you better not let your guard down. World War II, millions of people died. 6 million Jews alone. What you don't hear about now is people are still dying over there. People are still dying in this world because of the thoughts and the beliefs that was applied in World War II. They're still dying because Satan is using the people of this world, just like he used Hitler and the Germans. He's now using other fascists, including Americans. Jews are still being murdered. Christians are still being murdered. Islamists are still being murdered, okay? Muslims are being murdered. Let's don't just make it all about us. Satan is using everybody to destroy everybody. This is so important because when I look out amongst y'all, I get kind of jealous. Because I realize I'm the only one getting attacked by Satan every day. Like I said, he attacks us on so many different fronts. I get calls from multiple people every week about things going on in their lives. Multiple people every week about things that Satan is causing and doing in their lives. We look at it from a human aspect. The why me thing. We think of it as disease. We think of as disease as a medical thing. Just rest assured that disease is here through Satan. Just like everything else that is used to attack us, to destroy us, to divide us. Paul says we must put on the whole armor of God and prepare for battle. We went over that last week. There could be so many things said about what we're talking about today, but we're going to analyze the devil on 3 fronts. As a destroyer, as a deceiver, and as a devourer. The devil, the destroyer. Hebrew name for Satan is Abaddon. And it means destruction. They had a king over them, the angel of the bottomless pits, whose name in Hebrew was Abaddon. But the Greek, and in the Greek word, he has the name Apollyon. Revelations 9:11 speaks of that. John 10:10, the verse we're working off of today, and we talked about it last week. The thief comes only to steal, to kill, and destroy. He uses all these means that we spoke of a while ago. And that's just one letter, guys. That's just the letter D that he uses to destroy, to divide, to conquer us. He goes about like a wrecking ball. Charlie, don't start singing. Goes about like a wrecking ball, destroying anything that's good in this world, especially good institutions. And the institutions that I'm going to cover today are pretty much going to cover everything that we need to know and understand that he's using against us in today's world, our everyday battle. There are many institutions, but we're going to focus today first on the institution of marriage. We see the devil trying to destroy the institution of marriage, and he tries to destroy it by redefining what marriage is. The Bible is clear that marriage is between a man and a woman. Starts in Genesis 2:4, 1 Corinthians 7:1-3, Colossians 3:18 and 19, Hebrews 13:4-7. All of these passages in the Bible are telling you exactly what marriage is. Satan says marriage is not between a man and a woman. It can be to anyone who loves anyone or anything. Satan, the great deceiver, twisting the words of God. Here's the one that's most commonly used. See, Satan wants to destroy us on a personal level. He whispers to us. He says marriage is too much work. He says you can do better. They can do better than me. It's not always about you doing better. Sometimes it's about you not being happy with yourself and putting yourself down, destroying yourself by saying they can do better than me. That other person treats me a lot better. Look how he treats his girlfriend or her boyfriend. You're not good enough to be with him. She doesn't love you. Just walk away. You know you can't endure this. You can't put up with it. Just go and give up. He doesn't deserve you and you don't deserve him. I read an interesting testimony from Karen Blake, the pastor's wife, who with her husband Chris had worked with Metro Ministries in Brooklyn, New York. They had a great ministry there, and it was in operation for a long time, and they had effective ministry and a sidewalk Sunday school is what they called it. While they were doing this, they see thousands of people come to Christ, give their life to Christ. But she admits that it didn't come without a price. She said that she'd been cursed at, threatened, rocks thrown at her, eggs thrown at her. She'd seen people beaten, shot, robbed, and killed, all while they were doing their sermon work on the streets of Brooklyn. She had that she'd woken to the sound of broken glass and people trying to escape burning buildings. Had been caught in the crossfire, gunfights in the inner city, one of which almost killed her husband. But more than any of that, she said the enemy came for their marriage. Because them two was a force in Brooklyn. They brought many people on the streets and from the gangs of the life in Brooklyn and New York, they brought them to Christ. Instead of Satan being able to attack the thousands and thousands of people that they were bringing in, it's a lot easier to attack the institution. If If we destroy the institution, if we can get the marriage to separate, then the ministry falls. Then I can go back to work on these individuals. This is the first place that Satan will attack. A happy couple that is doing God's work. He's going to destroy your marriage if you let him. And he'll come at you in ways that you will never tie in with him. That's why it's so important you listen to the different things that I said out of the book, the D of the Concordance today. Listen to the different ways, different fronts he's going to attack you on. Satan has no authority to take you out of the position that God has placed you in. And he knows this. So he tries to get you to leave it yourself. And he does this through deception. He goes about destroying the union between a husband and a wife. He will use all the D words and any other words that is necessary to destroy this union that God put together for his purpose. It's another thing we get wrapped up, that we think our marriage is about us, this union is about us. It's like everything else in this world, it's not about us. It's about God. God put you the two together for a reason. Whether it's to help the other one do what they need to do, or to work together as a team, whatever it is, we're a team and we're together for a reason. God put us together for a reason, and Satan will do anything he can to destroy their union. Second institution. The institution of education. Satan has infiltrated the education system, and it really all began back when they took God out of school. I remember when I was a kid saying the Lord's Prayer and immediately saying the Pledge of Allegiance afterwards. I really didn't even think about God back then. I really didn't even think about what we were saying and what we're doing. But when I look back on it now, I realize how much that meant to me about starting my day off every day with God. The pride that I had in my country, because it was a country that I could do that in. Satan's infiltrated it. Says you can't do that anymore. It wasn't too long ago that the public schoolhouse and the church were in the same building. You see movies. Most of it wasn't around in the 1800s. Chris, Joe, y'all remember, right? Just kidding. I'm only 29 or 39. What is it? I forget. I've been lying so long. They used to be in the same building. Today, the courts have made it illegal. They said that there must be separation of church and state. That only seems to go in one direction. The devil doesn't mind the separation of church and state. It's the church in the state that he wants to destroy. The funny thing is, they'll tell you it's in the Constitution, separation of church and state. For you youngsters, y'all going to hear that a lot as you're growing older. You have an amazing thing now called Google. You don't have to actually read the whole Constitution. Nowhere in the Constitution does it state separation from church and state. I don't care what they tell you. It is not in there. It is a twisting of words in a letter by Benjamin Franklin, if I'm not mistaken.
Thomas Jefferson.
Huh?
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson, thank you. It was a letter written that Thomas Jefferson wrote that they twisted the words in when he was explaining what he meant by the separation of church and state. It was actually whether or not, the question was whether or not, I believe it was the Baptists, that they could always, they want to know if they was always going to have the right to congregate and to be and to follow their religion. They twisted that around. That's a letter. The letter that I wrote to Michael or somebody else, guys. It's just a letter that a guy scribbled down. But they would have you believe that it's in the Constitution. So we got God taken out of schools, and we're literally seeing Satan put in his place into our education. Now, they won't use the word Satan. But through blasphemy and perversion being taught to our children, from the youngest to the oldest, from the militant atheists who despise all religion, teaching college classes, don't you doubt for a minute that they're not there and that they don't know what they're doing. To the sex education classes that our schools are now wanting to governmentally sanction schools now wanting to teach our kids about homosexual sex. Now, see, they wouldn't put that in there as satanic teachings. They'll put that in there as a right to know, an obligation to teach. But let's don't fool ourselves. Let's put Satan in the place of God in our schools, be taught to our children. I used to not believe in homeschool. Young kids growing up is going to be parents one of these days, not for a long time, I hope. But you're going to be parents one of these days. You better start learning good in school, because the time's coming where you're going to have to teach your kids if you want them to know the truth. You're going to have to teach them. Satan goes about destroying education institutions. The third, the institution of the church. Satan has been trying for centuries. The church changes throughout the years, but the devil's tactics never change. He's doing the same things that he did back in 1 BC or 1 AD to now. You attack the church through division. If you've gone to church very long, you've seen it happen multiple times. The larger the church grows, the more times it divides. Just like he divides us through our marriage, he divides us through our churches. He'll pit one of us against another over small things, just like he does in marriages. You know, over small things. Things that you used to think were cute when you got together with your life soulmate aren't cute anymore. They become nagging things, you know. The way she says this or he says that, or the way they do, or the way they sleep or snore, or whatever it is. Things that used to be okay, now you drive you nuts. Not you, honey. You have none. You have none, honey. Okay. But he'll attack the church on little things. Disagreements. Or maybe big things, like adding another service. Changing the style of the worship. Adding a new salaried member to the staff. These are just some of the ways that Satan attacks the church. He also uses burnout. Satan loves to burn out volunteers, staff members, even the pastor. He'll try to make them feel like they're not needed, not appreciated, or that they no longer have anything to offer. I told y'all before, church is not a building, it's not a pastor, it's a community. It's y'all that make the church, not me, not this building. He'll use scandal. He loves to gossip, news headlines in the local paper. Has margarita and a mice. Bad Santa has red and gold on his cut. He's conspiring with the enemy. Chris has got long hair. Must be a dopehead. Yes. Band leader's husband does dope. That's the headline, you know.
I keep looking over here.
Does he sell
I'm gonna
too?
have to sit somewhere.
My favorite commercial now is the one on the radio. I haven't seen it on TV, but I think it's Ned or Ted, whatever. Be like Ned, he's on meds too. Be like Doug, he's on drugs too. You know, I will say that. The thing is, just like Satan He will get people to twist the words, to twist the things that are going on in life, and use them to start rumors, to create division amongst the church. Instead of church, you know, as Christians, we love to judge each other. We love to get on our high horse, our big steps up there and judge people. That's what we're good at, let's be honest. We know just enough of the Bible that we can tear somebody up, don't we? Rumors, lies, nothing like a half-truth. Just covered that too. Or bold-faced lies will damage the church's reputation. Spread throughout the community. One thing that I think is as important, that I've learned that's very important from the churches I've gone through and things that I've seen happen. We try to keep things behind closed doors. But I'm going to tell you something. When we have it, and it will happen, when we have a division in this church, when we have something come out, if you're involved in it, don't think it's going to stay behind closed doors. I need you to make it open. I need me to make it open. Because that's the only way we stop the rumors and the lies from getting started. Address it head on. Don't make it about me. Don't make it about you. Make it about whatever went on and how you feel about it and why you decide to move on. Because if you don't, they're going to say, Pastor Mark told Michael he couldn't wear his cut in church anymore. Now everybody that wears cuts in church don't want to come to this church anymore. Business. Satan destroyed the church through having too many activities. Too much for people to do. We spread ourselves too thin and we don't achieve what we want to do on any level. So what we started out doing good, because that's the only thing that we're focused on, now we're trying to save the world. Instead of letting Jesus save the world. And us just doing what we're asked to do. Marriage and family disruptions. Satan will try to destroy a home before he tries to destroy a church. You have strong personalities in life. Strong personalities in the church. If you can divide that union between them, you succeed in dividing the church to an extent. You not only divide a family and separate a family, you separate a church. You separate a community. So I hate to say it, that marriage is the easiest institution to attack. Because it can use me to attack their marriage. It can use Chris. Why do you keep coming with my sermon today, sir? You need something we need to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Now, he can use them to separate, to separate Tim and Tiffany's marriage. We love to give other people advice on marriage, but we don't, most of our marriages don't need to be given advice. You know, I remember when I was a kid, my first marriage, yes, Pastor's been married more than one time. Everybody leave that wants to leave. Okay. When I was a kid, I was having problems with my first wife. I went to work, and he's breaking alignment up on clip. I was all upset, angry. The boss pulled me into the office and said, "What's wrong with you today, Mark? You need to calm down and get your stuff together." I told him what was going on. He said, "Well, let me give you a little advice, Mark." I said, "Hold it right there, Larry. You've been married 5 times. I don't want any advice from you." The honest truth is, the only advice we need to give anybody is encouragement. Because none of us are perfect. You want to dig into my marriage, you can find dirt. You want to dig into these guys over here, I won't name them, but you know, their initials are. These guys over here marriages, or these guys' marriages, or those guys back there's marriages, or back there, you want to dig in anybody's marriages, you can dig up dirt, and you can give reasons why they shouldn't be together. Give reasons why they shouldn't be even friends with themselves or us. It's easy to destroy somebody else. That's the easiest thing we can do, is bring other people down. That's why Satan comes to us on that level. Sorry. I don't have time to get to all this, guys, but I want to. There's a classic Twilight Zone which came out. I've seen it in the 70s. It came out in the 60s, from what I understand. It's called The Howling Man. I don't know if there's any Twilight fans around here, but not Twilight Zone. Sorry, kids. You're like, hey, I don't remember that. It's about an American man that was on a walking trip through Central Europe, and he gets caught in this raging storm. And as he's staggering through this blinding rain, he chances upon a huge medieval-looking castle. And in this castle is a brotherhood of monks that live there. These reclusive monks, of course, being Christians, take him in. Later that night, the American discovers a cell with a man locked inside it. And he starts looking at the castle and the monks and all this stuff that's kind of foreign to him and a little bit scary. He sees an ancient wooden staff that holds together the locks of the door. He talks to the prisoner. The prisoner says that they're holding him captive and claiming that he's insane. Or no, I'm sorry, that he's being claimed. He claims that he's being held insane in cage by the head monk, who he claims is insane, Brother Jerome. He pleads with the American to release him. The prisoner's kindly face and gentle voice wins him over. So the American goes and he confronts Brother Jerome. Declares that the prisoner is actually none other than Satan, the father of lies, who is held captive by the staff of truth. The one barrier that he cannot pass. The one thing that Satan cannot deceive, overcome, change is truth. As long as we hold it to us. The incredible claim convinces that the American that Jerome is indeed mad to say something as crazy as this. I just talked to this nice man. Look at his kind face. He talks to me just as nice as anybody I've ever met. You want to tell me he's Satan himself? You are crazy. As soon as he gets a chance, he releases the prisoner, who immediately transforms back into the hideous horned demon and vanishes in a puff of smoke. The horrified American is horrified in the realization of what he has done. Jerome responds sympathetically. I'm sorry for you, my son. All your life you will remember this night, for whom you have turned loose upon the world. He says, I didn't believe you. I saw him and I didn't recognize him. And Jerome solemnly answers, that's man's weakness and Satan's strength. We're easily deceived because we're a creature with a heart. We will let our heart rule our mind. So Satan will use the deception that he's so good at. He's the king of lies. First lie in Genesis. He told Adam or Eve, what did he say? She said, not to eat from the fruit from the tree in the center of the garden. He says, surely he lies. He tells her that what he said was not to eat from any of the fruit in the garden. He twisted what God said so that it made sense for her to distrust God. what he'll do in your relationship, in your lives as well. He's going to attack you with death of loved ones, friends, family. And when that happens, he's going to use that and try to convince you that God has forsaken you. He's going to attack you with disease and use that to convince you that God has forsaken you, that there is no God. God would, no loving God would let this happen to me or my family or my child. So that you distrust God. He's going to attack you through deception, deceit, and all those other words we went to. He's going to make you feel desolate, alone, like you have no one to turn to except the drugs, the dope, the dumb people. I'll change it to people. The dumb people that surround you want you to give up your love for Christ. Give up the thing that God gave you. See, that's D. The letters, with the letter L. Because it's what Christianity is all about. The Lord, love, memory. Oh no, that's not L, is it? I can't remember the others. Doesn't matter. Those two are the main ones. Love and the Lord. Love the Lord and love each other according to the Lord. That's the only two L's we really need to know. And if you'll do those, that's the first step of being liberated from Satan. Dear Heavenly Father, I ask that this message hits whoever it's supposed to hit today, other than me. Because I know I feel attacked. I know Satan's constantly against me. I know it's against my people here in church, Father. I ask that you stay in their heart, you stay on their mind. Give them the strength that you promised. Actually, we know you'll give that, Father. Give them the strength to accept what you've promised and to hold it tight. In your Son's precious name. Amen.
Amen.
That's all I got. When y'all want to know the route for the deal, we're leaving here. We're going to make a left. We're going to make another left. We'll make a right and then another left and then a right and a left. When we come to the dead end, we'll make a left, go to the dead end, make a right, and then it's on your left, okay? That's your route. No, I'm kidding.
Is there any U-turns?
There is. Are you leaving? No.
I was wondering if wrong way was here.
Don't forget to get you some candy bars. I'm going to keep asking you because